This week on Eric and Horror Stories, I kick names and take ass. He took my ass! Welcome to Eric and Horror Stories. Eric speaking as we wrap up February. That's crazy, isn't it? Almost March, which is when I went home from my regular job to work last year. It's almost been a year working from home and not really doing much of anything, except this past weekend. I vended my photography and fine wares at the Oddities and Curiosities Expo in Knoxville. First show I'd gotten to do since last February, actually, Oddity show in Charlotte. Now, tomorrow, as of if you're watching this on the Friday it posts, was also supposed to be Oddities Expo in Charlotte. It would have been my second show in 2 weeks. But that one did get the axe, so I will not be appearing in Charlotte tomorrow. However, despite the fact I lost 6 or 7 shows last year, it looks like a lot of them are going to happen this year. I've got Indianapolis coming up in a few weeks, then Little Rock and St. Louis, which both of those are going to be cool because I've never been to either city. I do have New Orleans and Chicago on the docket. Never been to Chicago. Hopefully I get to do both those places. So it could be a pretty exciting year still. It's going to be a little weird. The Oddities people were absolutely great at having the COVID protocols and all that. Everybody had masks on the whole time. They had it really easy for people to social distance. I think that really went well. Obviously, it was less of a crowd, and there were less vendors, I guess. Everything was really spread out. It could be a lot better, I'm sure, but it really was good for what it was. So I'm looking forward to doing more of them. And I got out of the house, I got to do something, so that was awesome. Anyway, since photography and doing the conventions is a fairly big part of my life, I thought I would make that the topic of this week's episode, as well as kind of an inspirational tint to it about how you need to keep trying sometimes if it's something you really want to do. And I don't have a lot of great success stories in my life, I would say, and I'm not sure this is a great success story either, but I think it is a good example of if there's something you really want to do. Sometimes you have to get your face kicked down in the dirt a few times to get somewhere with it, and I certainly did. I did do some video and all that from the convention this past weekend. I don't think it's the greatest video because I had to have a mask on for most of it. I was going to overdub it, but honestly, I'd rather just talk about it this week and show you pictures from past conventions and all that. You'll get the idea without cruddy video that's weirdly voiced over. So I do want to say welcome to any new people I may have picked up from the convention last week. I did have a little bit of advertisement saying, hey, add me on YouTube. Anybody who bought anything, I did put a little thing in their bag or whatever saying, follow Eric and Horror Stories on YouTube. And I know I have a few new viewers, so thank you. Hopefully you actually watch this. There was one cute gal, I don't know how old she was. She was younger. Who said she already watched me on YouTube, and I was like, what? How did you find me? And I don't really remember her reason, but hey, it was nice meeting you. Thanks for already watching me. Somehow I'm building an audience a little bit here and there. That was really cool. And hopefully this will keep expanding. That's one of the things I'm going to do when I do these shows is try to also get my YouTube name out there. So I get a few people watching this, and so I keep doing it. Right now, just FYI, I'm kind of backed up against it time-wise. I may have to let a week or two go at some point to build up some more videos, but I'm not going to give up on it for sure. So stick with me. I am going to try to keep churning them out every Friday, even if they have to be short. But I am backing myself into a corner a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, just did my 17th vendor booth at the show in Knoxville, which is crazy to me that it's been that many. And hopefully I'll go over 20 this year. I started doing it in 2016. At the time, I'd been going to horror conventions for a while. I was a fan. I like to go see the celebrities, maybe get an autograph or a photo op and hang out. They'd have panels. It'd be fun just hanging around, seeing the people dressed up and all that. But they also would always have this great vendor room with this big eclectic group of vendors selling t-shirts and art and almost anything you can think of, really. And I'd always wander around in there. I'd buy a few things. But I couldn't help but think, I wonder if I could sell stuff I do here, particularly my photography. I'd been doing it for several years at the time I'd been going to these conventions. I never really saw anybody selling photography. And I was like, my stuff's horror-oriented. I think that people may like it. So it really put the idea in my head, the bug in my head. And then my tattoo artist started doing a tattoo convention here in town in 2016 called Tattooga, And I was like, well, screw it, I'm going to do it. So I got a 10 by 10 booth, and I bought all this stuff to do with it. I bought this really expensive printer to make photo prints because I was like, I need to be able to crank these out. I need them to be really quality, and these are Photolab quality. The printer cost over $1,000. My total investment in the booth and everything I bought for it was probably a good $1,500. I don't know. And the booth was really meager, what I filled it out with. I had my 2 little portfolio albums. I had a little place you could come in the booth, and I would take your picture. And the idea was I would take your picture, and right then I could give you a print of it, and wearing any goofy props and stuff I had. I was like, people will want to have their picture taken here for a few bucks. They'll get a print of it and all that. I only did a couple of those. I probably didn't even make $100 at the show. I lost, well over $1,000. So it was tough. I was like, I enjoyed it, but it was kind of rough too. I didn't have a lot of traffic. It was a little soul crushing in a way, but I mean, some people did say they liked it, so that was cool. I really couldn't decide if I wanted to do another one again, but I hadn't tried the horror convention yet, which was the whole idea from the start. So, January, February 2017 was Days of the Dead. That was the place in Atlanta I usually go to. I would usually go to as a horror con. So I booked a booth there. Much bigger show, a lot of traffic, 3-day show. And this ended up being, quite a weekend. My girlfriend at the time was supposed to go down and help me. Basically, we broke up as I was leaving my house, and she did not join me. My daughter did go with me. Once I got there, my booth was in a really bad spot where people didn't necessarily even have to walk by it. Never talked to the convention people. They didn't come by, check on you, or really give a shit. And, man, it was a rough weekend. 3 days, there all day for 3 days. And I had this thing made, another photo op thing, but this was like a big standy thing. I'll show you here. And I was like, oh, people will love this. It's got the Days of the Dead logo on there. It's fun. It's one of those things you stick your face through. Again, I'll take your picture for a few bucks. I'll print up a picture of it right there with my expensive printer, and you'll have a souvenir from the show. And those are going to be like $10 a piece or something. So, well, not only did I not sell a single one of those, I didn't sell anything in 3 entire days. I made zero. Literally nothing. Nobody bought a print. Nobody bought anything. It was beyond embarrassing. My daughter's there. She sees me just massively flopping on my face. And I've wasted well over $1,000 with staying at the hotel and travel and the booth and the stuff I had made. It was awful. Zero. Not even a damn dollar. I couldn't believe it. And it looked like horror conventions were necessarily the thing. And that weekend was so bad. That was the weekend the Falcons were in the Super Bowl, too. And I said on the way home, or once I started watching TV, well, this has been the worst weekend ever. At least the Falcons are going to win the Super Bowl. Holy shit, I almost killed myself when they lost that game. Oh, my God. This is the worst weekend ever. Sorry. I had to do a lot of soul searching after that show. I talked to a couple of the other vendors who've done it for a while and stuff, and just was like, man, I just can't do this. And they're like, well, why don't you just keep trying? Why don't you do a little bit more? If you want to give up, give up. But it seems like you put a lot of time and thought into it to just go away. And I knew I had to be different. I had to keep adding stuff to my booth. I decided to do my tattoo artist thing again the next year. He had given me some advice, start putting your stuff in frames. So I started having more framed prints in addition to my regular prints. I filled out the booth a little bit more, but it was still pretty meager. And I did some sales 2017 tattoo show, but it was still just okay. I did Days of the Dead again the following year in 2018, like Glutton for Punishment. And they put me in the celebrity room this time, which was a lot better spot. In fact, I was across from all the Karate Kid people, all the ones that are in Cobra Kai now, but at the time that didn't exist. And it was kind of neat. I did pretty good. I sold a few $100s worth of stuff. I still lost a good deal of money on the deal. I was hemorrhaging money at all these shows. But it was funny. All the Karate Kid people were flirting with Nina the whole time, who was helping me work my booth. They were winking at her and stuff. And one of the stars, the kid stars from the It remake, Chosen, who plays Mike, I believe, in that, was over there too. And he was watching us, and he came over to my booth and said he came over to my booth and he said he enjoyed watching us and it looked like we were having a really good time and all that, and took a picture with us. I'll show you. And I gave him a print, and it was really cool. He's a really cool dude. His mom came over and talked to us too. Great guy. I hope he has an amazing career in Hollywood. He was really, really good. And I can tell his mom's going to keep him in check for his whole life too, so he's not going to be one of those tragedy stories. But anyway, that show was a lot of fun. It made me feel a little better. I sold quite a few frames. I sold some prints. So, like I said, though, still lost a lot of money. It's not like I could just keep doing this and basically throwing money out the window. The idea was to make money. So, my next show, my tattoo artist's third show, Chattanooga, was in 2018. And holy shit, I'd sold several $100s worth of stuff before the show opened. I'd set all this stuff up. I had these big new frames. I had all this stuff. And all these tattoo artists just came over and started buying it. And it was unbelievable. I sold over $1,000 worth of stuff at that show. I made money. First time ever. I was just thrilled beyond belief. I was like, finally I'm getting there and I'm understanding it. So that was a big high. However, then I went on another run, especially trying to do these horror shows, that I just couldn't make money. I did Days of the Dead in Charlotte. I did a Walker Stalker convention, which was the worst thing ever. Horrible people. Treated me like shit. I can't even explain what a weird experience that was. I'm not going to go into that right now. Maybe I'll talk about that another time. But I did Knoxville Tattoo Convention. I did Scarefest, another horror convention in Lexington, Kentucky. And then I did Days of the Dead Atlanta again in, I believe it was 2019. I didn't make money at any of those shows. And I was like, I just got to quit doing the horror shows. Horror doesn't work for me. My market is horror. I don't know why I can't sell to horror people. But I think it's because they go and buy stuff from celebrities, and that's the main reason they go there. And then photography is a tough sell. It's really hard to sell photography. So the fact I'm selling any is probably actually pretty good. I've only seen one or two other photographers ever at the shows I do. It's more art, painting and drawing and crafts and stuff. I've tried to add stuff as time has gone by. I've tried my best. At that one show where I died at, I had these cute shirts on. Eric Richardson shot me. I thought people want to buy these shirts too. Nope. And I started doing these craft things. I've already done a video on how to corpse things. I thought these were really cool. I corpsed all kinds of stuff. Nobody really bought them either unless I dropped the price down to almost nothing, and it wasn't even worth doing. I really like these, though. I mean, these are badass. And I started making shirts. I actually got a Cricut and made these designs and made these demo shirts like this, the Shapely. That's actually a picture of Nina from my portfolio. I did put the Myers head on there too, though. And I bought all these blank t-shirts because I'm a maniac. I just go all in on this stuff without knowing if people were going to buy it. And it was too difficult to sell them. I would have to custom make on site the size because I didn't want to guess what size and style anybody wanted or anything. And I sold a few, but it was just a giant pain in the ass. I ended up giving all the shirts to Nina. Big waste of money. I need to learn my lesson. I bought all these porcelain dolls to remake as crazy dead dolls with cracked skin and all that. I just bought a bunch of them for no reason. Made a bunch of them. Didn't sell them. Didn't sell a single one. I need to learn how to just do one or two things and see how they do. I did that this last show. I got these pillows made. And I just sold 2 of these, but I only had like 7 of them there. And right before I started doing this video, I got an email from a guy who bought one. And he's like, I really like this. What else do you have left from those? So maybe the pillows are a good idea. Every once in a while it hits. So I've been trying to learn. All this time when I was taking a beating, when I'd go to these shows, I'd walk around, I'd look at the booths, I'd be like, wow, their display looks great. I need to take something from that. I'd watch what people were buying, like what they're carrying around. And I'd try all this different stuff because you can't just stay stagnant. Even if I was making money, typically places go out of business if they just stay the same. So I just kept taking my beating. Everything I've just told you now, I made money at one show, you know. But then things changed. Especially when I did the first Oddities and Curiosities show, which I drove all the way up to Indianapolis for in 2019. I just had a little table, show you pictures of all that. They actually gave me a second table because somebody didn't show up. And I had some prints and frames and just enough stuff to fit at a table. And holy shit, when all those people got in there, it was nonstop barrage of people at my table. I didn't even have time to go to the bathroom. Nina and I were just like in a war almost. I sold out of a bunch of stuff. I made more money in 8 hours than I'd ever made doing this before. I cleared over $1,000 after all my expenses, which was like, wow. I mean, I might be able to do this. So after that, I've done 3 Oddity shows since then: Atlanta, Charlotte, Knoxville. I've made money at all of them. I didn't make much this past weekend, but given the whole situation and the fact I came out ahead is great. And finally, Scarefest 2019, the last horror convention I ever did, I went in there and was like, if I just make money at a horror convention, that's going to vindicate me so much. Because I made 0 that first time in a 3-day show. This was a 3-day show. I had a lot into the show with travel and all that other stuff. And I was like, I just want to make $1. If I can say I made money at a horror convention, then I beat all this. I didn't give up. And I stuck with it. And I made it. I made money. I didn't make very much. But I was so damn happy. And then at that point in time, I was like, never doing another horror convention again. They don't work. I did stick with it until I made a damn $1, though. And that was a great moment. And from then on, once these Oddity shows started, I have made money, I believe, at 8 of my 9 last shows. So it's been quite a run. I made money the entire last year. One show. And so far this year, one show. But, I'm going to keep putting my best foot forward. I launched a website to help sales that way. EricRichardsonPhotography.com. Get yourself something nice. And all kinds of stuff there. My horror work, my weird stuff, the sexy horror series as my bestseller. All kinds of stuff like that there. Stuff you won't even see in my booth if you go to it. So check it out if you want to. And yeah, the whole point of this really is to tell you about stuff I do that matters to me. And I hope I get to see some of you out on the road. I hope you check out my website or my social media. Instagram, EricRichardsonPhotography.com. Facebook isn't updated very much because they ban me every time I do. But I need to do more on that. But yeah, just if there's something you do that you like to do, and maybe you're not trying to sell it, I don't know. But maybe you're having a tough time with something. I'm the kind of person who walks away a lot from things. If I feel like I'm failing. And for some reason at this one, it just really stuck with me. I just had this feeling in the back of my head, I can make something out of this. And it really just hurt me so bad to do nothing that instead of wanting to walk away, it just made me like, I'm gonna do this. So, and I've done it. Am I rich? Is it lucrative? No. I've still lost more money than I made. I just try to forget about those early shows. I'll never recover that money. Because you got to spend money to make money. I'm just considering that a one-time expense that goes away. And maybe I won't do this forever. I'm going to do it for a while as long as it's fun, as long as I'm meeting people, as long as people do seem interested in it. It's very gratifying. A lot of people come in who maybe can't buy stuff. My stuff's not necessarily stuff everybody can have hanging in their house. I get that. I do have prints of some static things. This picture, Skull Chair, is a pretty good seller. I have it as a photo, obviously. I have things that aren't half-naked people or stuff like that. But sometimes people just don't buy anything, but they say, man, I really love this. And I can't tell you how good that feels, because I stuck with it. And people even liking it sometimes is better than money, what they say to me. I even had this really funny thing. These ladies walked by my booth, and one of them was like, oh, I don't like that kind of stuff. And then she was like, it's really good, though. I can see why people would display it. And I was like, that is so funny. But it's such a great compliment, too. Whereas I don't like this kind of stuff at all, but I recognize the quality of it. That kind of stuff's great. I would never have heard any of this stuff or had this fulfilling side of me if I'd quit. So my message to you out there, people, on this inspirational Eric and horror stories is stick with the stuff you like. And if you like it, that's what matters. If other people like it, great. But it's not always easy in life with things we like to do, and you're going to want to quit things, and sometimes you need to. I've quit things I needed to quit. I quit doing the horror conventions because I'm still kind of taking a beating doing them. But put yourself out there. Give it a shot. If it doesn't work, that's fine. I was humiliated that one show didn't make anything. But, that doesn't have to define me. What defines me is I kept doing it, losing until I won. And now I'm winning a lot. And maybe it won't stay that way, but I did it. I stuck with it. So thanks for listening to me this week. A little bit different episode, kind of just talking straight through here on a blue streak, but very happy to get back out there. I'm going to see a lot of you guys on the road this year. Again, come visit my website. Stick with me on the YouTube channel. Hopefully there'll be more and more of you. Got a lot of stuff coming up. Going to do a Rocky Horror Picture Show episode. Going to do some prop episodes. Going to do more overrated, underrated. Going to do people profile stories. One coming up on the very gorgeous and talented Cassandra Peterson. If you know her alternate name, you'll know who I'm talking about. And we're just going to have a lot of fun here. And we're going to win. I don't have that many viewers right now, but the ones who watch have given me good feedback. I read all your comments on the last episode. I appreciate them. I'm going to take them to heart. And I'm going to stick with this for a while. And maybe I fail. Maybe I don't. But it's going to be a good ride. And I hope you come along with me. I love each and every one of you. Thank you all for anything you've ever boosted me up at. And boost others up. Give them a compliment or something. It makes a world of difference. I can tell you that. Anyway, this has been Eric and Horror Stories with a more serious, personal episode. Last week. I'm not counting that as a blooper. Next week, we'll get back to the craziness and insanity, and I can't wait to bring it to you. Bye-bye. Welcome to Eric and Horror Stories. I need to put this microphone on me. No, I don't. Oh, what the fuck I'm doing? Welcome to Eric and Horror Stories.